differently today. So rather than just going in and talking about the stuff, I'm going to illustrate it first and then unpack a little bit of the theory. So first of all, just this picture that you've got on the screen, some of you might have seen something similar to this and been asked this question before. What do you see when you look at that picture? Do you see two faces, people looking at each other? Or are you looking, or do you look in the middle? And if you look in the middle, in the space between the faces, you might see a vase. And where you focus on is what you see. If you're focusing on the faces, that's all you see is the faces. If you focus between the faces, you're seeing a vase. And the whole thing, and what I'm going to talk to you about today, is how our focus shapes what we see. You see what you focus on. And if you focus on something different, you will see different things. And that's what we're going to do. So what I'd like to do first of all, and this I'm going to need you all to look at your screens. I'm not sure if any of you have seen this before. I want you to concentrate on the red, the green, and the blue dot for 30 seconds, keeping your eyes open. So you're looking at the dots. Okay, let's go. I'm going to count you in for 30 seconds now. Go. Stare at that figure. But you're looking only at the red, green, and blue dots. Stare at those dots, the red, the green, and the blue dot. Try to keep your eyes open as much as possible without blinking. And now look up at your ceiling and blink very fast and see what you see on the ceiling. Okay, anyone see the lady again?
Yes, David.
And
a white lady in color.
What? In
a
color.
White lady in color.
A white lady in color. So who said that? Who's talking at the moment?
Valeria.
Valeria. So how does that happen, Valeria? And I'm sure a few of you saw that.
I saw the lady, but she was upside down in the triangle, and the three dots were in a triangle on her nose.
Okay. Okay. So that's what you saw. Anyone else see the lady like Valeria? Anyone see her in color on the ceiling?
I saw her in color, yes.
Ellis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Ruti saw her in color with very specific hair color and flesh color. And Dr. De Bruyn also saw her in color.
So let me ask you a question. How the hell does that happen? First of all, the picture's on your computer, it's not on your ceiling. So the fact that you even see something on your ceiling is bizarre. The second thing is that you see the person in color. You can see it's a lady and she's got color. How does that work? What has happened over there? Isn't that bizarre that you can see this person in color? Any comments on that?
That was scary, David. I thought my brain was doing funny things. It was a clear, and she's in a square. It was just a clear picture.
Yes.
That was spooky.
That was spooky. Now, Valeria, you used some very specific words, which I liked. You said you scared that your brain was doing funny things. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Some things I was like, this can't be happening. Am I imagining this? It really was, that's amazing.
So I'm going to tell you something I was going to tell you afterwards, but I'll tell you now. Your brain is doing funny things. And the problem is that our brains do funny things all the time, and we don't realize it. We just don't realize it. Let me give you another example. Guys, I need a bit of participation and I need people to talk up when you see this. So rather than write it in the chat, please, this is a participative session. So just unmute yourself and call out what you see. What color is the block on the left-hand side in that white block? What color is that?
Brown.
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 And everyone agree it's brown. Anyone not?
Brown.
Yeah.
Brown.
What color is the one on the right-hand side in the same position?
Yellow.
No, it's already brown. No, it's not
Yellow.
a clear.
Yellow.
Yellow.
Mostly yellow, hey?
Mm.
Philip thinks it's kind of combination.
Another yellow.
Okay, so now if I said to you, I will bet you, let's anyone willing to bet me that those two colors are the same? Does it look the same to any of you?
No.
No,
No.
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 Ellis, how much are you willing to bet me? That it's, if I said it's the same, how much are you willing to bet me?
A cup of coffee.
You're not that confident, eh?
No,
Valeria, what do you think?
So Ruti is willing to bet you 50 rands. She has
50 rand.
laryngitis, and I'm speaking on behalf of her.
Okay. Maybe what we should do, Tracy, is whatever bets people bet me, if they lose, they pay it towards Ort. How's
Okay.
that? And if I lose, I've got to pay Ort. So, guys, it is and if you hadn't done the first exercise with you, I'm sure you would be willing to bet a lot more. If I now take away, because I'm now going to do some arts and crafts, if I take away this white, it's the same block. What color is it? Is it the same?
they
Yeah.
are the
Yeah.
Yes.
Valeria,
Yellow.
is your brain still doing funny things?
No.
No, it's yellow. I don't understand why. I'm trying to listen.
Dave, there's a hue of brown in the yellow, a touch of brown in the yellow.
Yeah, but it's more or less the same where before. And
Mhm.
the thing is, now you know it's the same color. And if I put the things back,
It's brown.
the illusion
Ah.
goes back. You know what it is, but the illusion still goes back.
Mm.
David, can I ask a question?
Sure.
There's that at the bottom in the 6 o'clock position, there's a brown circle,
Mm.
and now it looks the same color as that circle that square in the white box
Yes.
on the white background.
Yes.
But now when you take away the white background and it turns into mustard or yellow,
Yes.
that brown at the bottom stays the same. And there you can see a clear difference. Now they look the same.
Mm.
Take away the white and they're different.
So there
And
they
that's
look
puzzling
like-
me.
Yeah.
See, the one
Now
is
they're
yellow
different.
and the one is brown.
Yeah.
Put the white back and they're the same. They look the same color.
Yeah. Isn't it bizarre?
Hmm.
And if I put these things back, it's the same color again. Even though so what I'm saying to you is, can you trust what you're seeing? Let's have a look at another one. Let me ask you this. Which table is longer? A or B?
This is one of those trick ones where they're the same.
Hmm. Now you know where I'm going. Yes,
Yeah.
they're the same, but you can see that they're definitely not the same.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But if I put this over here, you can see the length of this. And if I take this and I put it over here, and I turn this thing around, and I turn this. You will see that they're the same. But then I've proven to you, and like those square blocks, if I take this away, again, the illusion comes back. And this is the problem with the world, where we hear and we see things, and we say, but I saw it with my own eyes. I believe this. This is the truth. This is definite. I can promise you, I can bet you 50 Rand or 1,000 Rand. This is reality, when maybe it isn't reality. Let me show you one other thing. Okay, I want you to read the next slide. How many of you read that in the exact same order that it was?
That's true.
And
Gosh.
you free thinking adults. You got all the rights. You could read it as you want, but most of you would have read it as it is there. First, you'll read this, then you'll read this.
Lastly,
Afterwards, you'll read this. Then lastly, you read this, and finally, you'll just notice this.
That's happened to me the first time, but then I reread it.
Yeah. But then you reread it. But we think that we know who we are and what we are. And the question is, how do you work? You ask yourselves, how do we work? How does our brain work? And the truth is, your brain, as this says, got no idea. And that thing where you took the picture of the lady, and then you saw her on the ceiling, and you say your mind's making things up. Here's the truth of it. Our brains are so powerful that sometimes we just make things up. We take different things and we combine them and we come up with some conclusion. We take random things and we draw a picture with it. You take randomness, and there's a book written by someone, I can't remember who wrote it, but they said it's called Fooled by Randomness, that we see patterns in things that don't really exist. And what I want to show you today is that our minds are so powerful that sometimes we fool ourselves with it, and sometimes marketers have seen how powerful our minds are, and they put things in place to convince us about things that don't really exist. We live in a world, or we live mostly in default mode, that we learn to do things and then we just do them again and again, and we work and we live in default. We don't change the way we do things because that's easy. Now, it's very important to have things that we live in default. You don't have to, every single decision you make, have to make the decision again. It's important that things are instinctual. You get up, you brush your teeth. You don't have to think, do I have to brush my teeth? You're driving in your car, the robot turns red. You don't have to, as it's turning red, think, I wonder what red means. Should I stop or should I go? Unless you're a taxi driver, then you go. But what you should, it's kind of, you learn patterns in life and we follow the rules of those lives, and we create, some of them are given down to us, others we create those rules, and those rules become our rules of thumb, and we live by those rules, and we often don't go back and rethink our rules. And what behavioral economics is looking at is saying it's important to sometimes have rules, but it's important occasionally to go back and say, are those rules that we've created in life really valid? So we do things and we make decisions that we think are based on our own thoughts and choices. But in reality, we're being influenced continuously, both intentionally and unintentionally, by everything around us. Every single thing influences us. Sometimes a decision we make will be based on something we've just heard 5 minutes ago without even knowing it. So we live in a world of that, and not going back and living in default mode is kind of lazy. And the truth is that laziness pays off. It does. It pays off now. But hard work pays off later. And it's about looking at what things we should be lazy about and what things we need to work hard and not be lazy. And laziness comes to the way we think as well in our mind. When we talk about behavioral economics, there are many different concepts we talk about. There's something called herding. Herding is where we go and we love being in groups and we herd together. So we follow what others do. And that's why often it's important to just go back and ask yourself, am I doing it just because everyone else is doing it? One of the biggest forms of herding is maybe following a sports team. Do any of you follow sports teams? I've heard people talking, especially now, there was Man City and Liverpool were trying to get to the league, and you hear people talk about it and they say, we did this and we did that, and if only we scored here and only we scored there. These are people living in South Africa who've never been to England, who've never been to their team, who don't even, the team doesn't even know they exist, but they talk we, because people need to be together. Tracy, I see you got your hand up.
Thank you, David. Just a question in the chat box. Ruti has said that, you know, we're so used to the saying that seeing is believing. So should we not believe what we see?
And that's a very good question. And the problem is you have to believe what you see, because otherwise, what do you believe in? But you need to sometimes question yourself and say, is that really true what I saw? And this comes out in, if there's a car accident, for instance, you will have people standing in different positions. There's a car accident and you ask the three people what happened, and they will all have different stories. One, because they're looking at it from different perspectives. But the other thing is, you're standing and looking in this direction, the accident's happening over there. You hear two cars crash. In that moment, you turn around and you see the cars spinning. You actually didn't see the accident. But as you turn and you see what happens afterwards, your mind fills in the gaps. And you honestly believe that you saw the accident, even though you didn't. And that's kind of the problem. So it's not only what you believe, what seeing is believing, it's what you make up is what you're believing. They're now finding out that some people have other people's memories. How does that work? If somebody tells you a story often enough and often enough and often enough, sometimes people honestly start believing that they were there when that story happened. And it's not intentional, it's just part of that. And with some people, it's easier than others. So we talk about herding as one of the concepts, loss aversion. I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit later, that we fear the loss more than the gain. We got these rules of thumbs, etc., etc. So these are different concepts, but in behavioral economics now, there must be thousands of these different concepts that people talk about. Two books made this famous. The one is called Nudge Theory. There's a book called Nudge, and it's written by Richard Thaler, and he wrote this Nudge Theory, and it's about little changes, small interventions can encourage people to make different decisions. So if you want somebody to change something, you don't have to make the big changes. It's the little changes that can nudge people to do something different. And in fact, when he started writing this book, instead of the name that he had, he actually had, it was titled while he was writing it, stupid, excuse the word, but stupid shit that people do, that he really believed. And why he's got the picture of an elephant and nudge is nudging is around pushing somebody to do something that's good for you, but also good for them. A mother elephant will push the baby to do what's good for them, but will not push them over the cliff. We unfortunately have marketers in the world today who use this nudge theory, and it's not really nudge, it's more shove. And shoving is where you push somebody to do something that's good for you, but not necessarily good for them. I don't know if you know, recently, MTN, if you got a contract with MTN, you sign a contract for a certain amount, they all of a sudden have upped their fees. They said 5%, but a lot of people, it came to 25% increase. And they said no, because the increase was based on what the fee should have been, not what you're paying. And that's all shove. That's all disgusting behavior of just pushing people towards things. So that was the one thing. So you got nudge and you got shove. And it's around nudging and doing things is what a mother will do for a child. It's trying to push them to do something, but something that's good for both. Okay. The other book that's very important within this, if you want to read a little bit more on it, is a book called Thinking Fast and Slow. It's by Daniel Kahneman. And that is having we got two systems. The one is the fast thinking, the other is the slow. What we mean by the fast thinking is it's almost non-thinking. It's where we just behave. Slow thinking is where you got to step back and think, what's the right thing to do? And both those systems are important. The problem is when we use the one where we should be using the other. We've got the system of fast thinking, like in the animal world. If a lion was coming towards you, you don't have to look at the lion and think, I wonder when it last ate. Does it look hungry? Should I run? You just see the lion and you run. That's your instinct, is to just run away. And it's to protect you. The slow thinking is when you need to stop and think, should I behave like this or not? That's like your road rage, where a car will pull in front of you and you just get angry at the person, and it's kind of like you just react when you shouldn't react. I'll come back to that example in a second. So when we look at this, you've got the rational and the emotional. The rational is the slow, controlled, conscious decision-making. The emotional is the fast, automatic, unconscious, high intensity, and it's your habitual behavior, the way that you actually just behave. I like to look at this and think, rather than, yes, they are both in your head, but it's easier for me to think of it in terms of you either in your head or you in your heart. You either feeling or you thinking. Okay, so you're thinking or you're feeling. With that road rage incident, if I'm driving in a car and my wife's with me and a taxi pulls in front and maybe I hoot and I scream at the driver, my wife will say to me, why are you doing that? Like, what are you thinking? And the answer is, really, I'm not thinking, I'm feeling. I'm in my heart, I'm not in my head. I'm getting emotional about things where if I stood back and said, so let him go, it's where I'm using the one type instead of the other type. And so really, you can't have both systems on at the same time. When your heart is on, your head is off, or the other way around. And they say, follow your heart, but take your brain with you. Let me try a little experiment with you. I'd like you, please, to look at, I'm going to put a question up, and I'd like you to tell me which one you prefer. Just write either A or B. And maybe if you can, maybe write it in the chat, A or B. There's no right or wrong answer. I want your answer. Which of the following would you prefer? A certain win of 2,500 Rand, or a 25% chance to win 10,000 Rand and a 75% chance to win nothing? Which one would you prefer, A or B? You can just write it in the chat. And Trace, if you wouldn't mind maybe just counting out what we have, how many A's and how many B's. And you can't choose A and B. It has to be one of them. The B's
I have 6 A's.
6
I
A's.
have 1 A and B.
We'll ignore that one, yeah.
And then I'm just double checking the B's.
I've got 3 B's. So 6 A's
3
and 3
B's,
B's.
yes.
Okay, let's go on to another question. Let's go to the next question. Again, please put in your answer C or D. Which of the following would you prefer? A loss of 7,500 or a 75% chance to lose 10,000 and a 25% chance to lose nothing? You can just put it in the chat, either C or D. Which one would you have? In this one, so you've got less people voting. I'm not sure why, but in this one, you got 1 C and 5 Ds. And if we have a look at what we're talking about, so these were your questions. This is called prospect theory. It shows that we have different choices if the questions are framed, 1 as a gain or 2 as a loss. We dislike losses more than we like the gain. Giving up something is more painful than the pleasure we derive. And we can see that the one we took A and the other one we took D as the most common. It reflects something completely different when we frame it differently as a win or as a loss. Yes, Jonathan, I see you got your hand up. Okay, great.
Wanted the name of that first book of the nudge theory.
Okay, so the book is actually called Nudge.
Oh, nudge. Okay, and the author?
It's Richard Thaler.
Richard Thaler. Okay. Yeah, your example of MTN is totally accurate, and I'm getting a demo model, a cell phone, not the latest spec, but one that can take the latest operating system, which many apps demand or require. So once again, it's that whole push marketing practice.
So that what they've done with you is a thing called built-in obsolescence, and a lot of things. So if a company, and I can't remember who was the first company, but they built a product that was so good it didn't break down, and they started losing money.
Yeah, I think it was an automobile company for a while.
Yes, there was a company, and it was built so well that it never broke. So they build in obsolescence. They're building things that will break, and they build in things that go out of date. Even like airtime that expires. Like airtime should never expire. It doesn't expire. It doesn't go off.
Correct.
This is the part of what I call the shove that companies bring. Yeah, great. Thanks for adding to that. So when we were faced with the first type of decision, more of us, and we had the polls, more of us opted for the riskless alternative A. But the second problem, you were more likely to choose the riskier one, D, which is exactly what we had. We had 6 A's and 3 B's, and then 1 C and 5 D's. And it's just the way you ask someone a question can determine the answer that you get. So one has to be very careful when you have a look at things like this, and when you're faced with different decisions, try and change the question around and see, would your decision be different? It's the same, there's a card trick that people play where you tell anyone, choose any card, but you hold the cards out, but one of the cards is sticking out. And 80% of the time, the person will just grab that card that's sticking out because that's the default. And you know what that card is, and then you can do anything with the trick. We work on that default. There's a lovely little story, which I'll share with you here, is The Economist many years ago. They gave the option for people to buy The Economist on just the online version, which would cost $59, or the print version only, which was $125. And if you took both, you got $125. It cost you $125. So here, you're basically getting the web version for free. And so people went for this version. 84% of the people chose the print and web, and only 16% chose the subscription-based one. No one chose just the print. So they took the print one away. So you take the print, and now you've only got 2 options because no one wanted the middle one. What happened now? Most people went from 16% to 68% for this version, where the other one dropped from 84% to 32%. So the one option that seemed pointless, the option that seemed completely useless, that no one took it, wasn't useless on its own because it nudged people to take the other one, because we are continuously comparing things together. We're always comparing. And if we got nothing to compare it against, we compare it against something else. Even Jonathan, you said you're only paying 1,000 Rand. It's compared to what you used to pay for a telephone 30 years ago. Even if you update it with the times, it's a ridiculous amount, but it's very cheap now because other packages are 2,000 Rand. And we're always comparing something to something. And so often we're given a choice that is just there to push us to the next level. What I've shown you so far is our minds create pictures that aren't there. We are nudged into doing something just because there's a similar comparison. And another aspect is this. So if you had to go to the Kruger Park, you drive through, you'd look at these animals, you see the giraffe, you're relaxing, it's beautiful, they look lovely. Those giraffe are not relaxing. You might be relaxing, but they're not. What they are doing continuously is scanning the environment for problems. All they're looking for are problems. Where's that lion? Where's this? Where's that? They spend their whole life looking for those problems. We come from the animal world, really, through evolution, and we are predisposed to look for problems. And that in itself becomes a problem because you see what you focus on. They say that a single drop of used motor oil can contaminate 1 million drops of water. You just need that one negative drop, that one thing. And so I would like you going forward always to ask yourself, with the comments you're making and the things that you're saying, to yourself and to others, are you that drop of oil? Are you being oilish? You can use that term. Are you being oilish? Are you that just a little bit? And you say, well, I'm not negative. It's just one little thing I'm saying. But the same way that one drop of used motor oil contaminates 1 million drops of pure water, our thoughts do the same thing. So let me give you I'm going to run through a couple of examples, real world examples, just to show you how some of these things operate and how they work. So this is an advert from Pick n Pay Clothing, buy 2 for 80 Rand. What are they doing? Why buy 2 for 80 Rand? Because they're trying to get you to buy another one. The first one, if you buy one, it costs you 50 Rand. The next one costs you 30 Rand. The 30 Rand only looks good because you know the first one was 50 Rand. And the question is, do you need both? Is it 20 Rand off or is it 30 Rand on? If you need 2, and if you were going to buy 2, then it's 20 Rand off. If you only need 1 and now you're being pushed to buy another one because you think, hey, I'm saving, then it's 30 Rand on. Okay, that's one example. Here's another example. This is if you had to go and you get Express VPN and you need this and you're having a look and you look at the different things. It's giving you a price, get VPN Express, you get 3 months free. Whenever there's a term free has a magic allure to it. Because when you get something for free, it feels like there's no downside. But what's even more here and what's shoving you more is you can either get it, or if you want to leave this website, you have to click here that says, no, I do not want online safety. Can you see the terminology that's being used? Yes, you do want online safety, maybe not from them, but they're saying, if you click here, you're saying, and now you feel like you're vulnerable. This is more of a shove than a nudge. They're pushing you. I can't say I don't want online safety. I better take this. And that's how they push you towards that. Another example would be something like this, where if you're going to a conference and they will give you got general admission, VIP or diamond. And if you get it, first of all, it tells you if you book now, there's an early bird, you get 1 for free. They now show you what the price was and what you're paying. That same concept of it only looks cheap now because it's in comparison. Can you see that? Not only is it in comparison to itself, it's in comparison to all the other ones that you have there. This, if I said to you, come and listen to my seminar and it's going to cost you 1,000 Rand, you're like, geez, 1,000 Rand, that's a lot of money. I know Jonathan only spends 1,000 Rand for the whole month for his phone call. How can I now pay 1,000 Rand just for a couple of hours to come and listen? But 1,000 Rand looks cheap because it was 2,000 Rand. And 1,000 Rand looks cheap because, hey, the VIP is paying 2,000. And guess what? The diamond's paying 8,000. The people who put this together do not want you to take the diamond. They're not, if you take it, fantastic, but that's not where they're pushing you. Where they're pushing you is actually for the general admission, but they're giving you these things. And this is what we call asymmetric pricing. It doesn't go 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. It goes 1, 2, 8. It's a big jump. So it shows you how much that is. Can you see that? And you've got a number of examples with this. When you look at something, special deal, 12 months, you get 3 months free. There's the word free. They tell you which is the most popular. You get 30-day money back guaranteed. It's highlighted. If you look very carefully, you get that 30-day money back guarantee on each of these. You're saving 49%. They're giving you percent. They're showing you which one you should choose, making it bold. That's nudging you or even shoving you towards that. And let me give you a couple more examples with this. There was a app that I thought, maybe I should get this. It's a habit tracker and it might improve my productivity. Let me go have a look what this is like. So I go in and it says, hey, try 7 days. Start my free trial. I can get a free trial. Okay. And it says your 7-day free trial. After that, I'm going to have to pay $30 a year. $30 a year. Okay, well, maybe I'll see. Listen, I've got nothing to lose. It's for free. So I click on the free. First of all, what are they doing over here? That's 7 days. This is what we call the nudge. There's no downside. It's for free and it's for 7 days. Let me try it for 7 days. So the free, it's also, as I mentioned, it's for free. And this is what we call an anchor. They've now placed in my mind that it's going to cost $30. Even they put it $29.99. It's not even $30, but they put it as $30. So I click on that. All of a sudden, even though they promised it for me for free, they say, hey, don't take the 7-day free. Get it now. Click over here and it'll cost you half of that, only $14.99. And you save 49%, and this over here, that 59.29 is a clicking clicking clock where it's ticking down. So I've got an hour. It's like telling me, well, you better choose. Otherwise, the interesting thing, if you go out and you come back, it starts at 60 again. It's all these gimmicks that give it to you. So compared to the anchor price, this now looks like a great price. You're saving 49%. It's emphasizing how much you're saving. This is for the FOMO that you don't, and it's the FOMO, you fear of missing out, and you might make an irrational decision. This I like. It's just a book on how to stop impulsive buying, and somebody wants to buy it impulsively. So I thought that was quite funny. One other concept I want to share with you. If you have a look at this, how many green balls can you see?
4.
4.
4.
Anyone see anything other than 4 green balls?
4.
Here's the thing. This is that same picture blown up. If you look very carefully, all the balls are actually the same color. The balls are not green. The lines in front of them are green that make them look green. And so this is what we call our biases. We all have biases. Our biases are when we say they are like that. Those people are like that. And whenever we say they are like that, we're putting a layer in front that every time we see those kind of people, that's what we feel. And it's a human trait. It's that same thing with herding. We always have them in us. In South Africa, unfortunately, we went through the years of racism, and it creates those biases, but it exists everywhere. You go to work, it's them and us, the bosses and the employees. You go at home, it's the parents and the kids, the us and the them, or it's the boys and the girls, or it's the whoever it is. I even created that unintentionally at home when my one daughter likes going out, and the other one likes staying at home. And I called them the stayer inners and the goer outers. And my one daughter once, I said, come, let's go out. She said, Dad, I can't. I said, why? She says, I'm a stayer inner. I'd created that filter that I didn't want to create for them. So again, we have bias. We have these biases and layers. So what I want you to think of is, what are those things that we just assume things? So yes, believe what you're seeing, but also doubt what you're seeing at the same time. The ability to hold two different things at the same time is where the magic happens. Rather than say it's obvious and I know that, and rather being adamant about something. It's when people are adamant about something, that they're not open to these different versions of things. And I want to show you one last thing, the link to what happened in Cape Town a few years ago. All over the news, it was saying Cape Town may be the first major city in the world to run out of water. I'm sure you remember that, especially those of you who are joining us from Cape Town. They kind of try to tell people not to use water, and they had all sorts of different things. But it's difficult for hotels because you have tourists coming, and the tourists don't really care what happens in the country. What do they care if there's water? So how do you nudge them, or how do you tell them to use water sparingly? So some of the hotels had big signs up in the foyer, please don't use water. Others said, please use a shower, not a bath. Others removed the plug from the bath. So if you wanted it, you had to physically come downstairs and get the plug yourself. One of the hotels, the Radisson Blu near the waterfront, did this. You walked into the foyer and they had this exhibition of 110 liters, an average bath. This is what it looks like. And they also told you, if you have a 2-minute shower, that's what it looks like. And the comparison again is that they didn't just have these two things, they had them side by side. So they say, please use the water sparingly, because this is the impact it has. And now when you can see the impact and it looks massively different, that's going to nudge you, hopefully, to do the right thing. And I'm now open to any questions you have. Anyone got any questions?
Nothing in our chat box, Dave.
I think we're all shell-shocked, Dave.
So guys, I've run through with you very quickly. I'd run this course actually over 3 full days, and I'll bring in obviously other exercises and things. So, but I've just shared a little teaser and a taste with you, that you get a taste of really what it is. And my message to you is awareness. I just would like you to become aware of how we think, and just so that you understand these things. And you could use it in your own business, but if you do, try and get to a nudge and not a shove. And I think I'm spot on 5 o'clock.
David, wow, what an absolutely incredible, astounding webinar. I think every single one of us going into the shops next time are going to be so much more aware of pricing, buy one for this, 2 for that. And in a lot of what you put up today, the initial reaction is actually not the best answer. When I saw the 4, well, I thought I saw the 4 dots and that they were green, but looking more in depth into something just demonstrates that in fact we could be very easily influenced. So I thank you all. My voice is going.
Yeah. At least, Tracy, you're drinking out of a clear bottle, so we can see really what you're drinking there. Hey? So.
It could be something else. But I'd like to thank you all so much. Thank everyone that has joined us this afternoon. And I would like to thank David again for his time and the value that he adds to the Ort Jet program. Without him, I can truly say we would be very lost.